Hi, I'm Dr. Kenneth K. Brown, PhD in Biomedical Sciences, Master's in Analytical Chemistry, Bachelor's in Chemistry, Bachelor's in Electrical Engineering Technology, certified as a Project Management Professional, Contracting Officer's Representative, and Toastmasters Advanced Communication Silver. I'm a research chemist for 51 years of laboratory experience with 26 scientific publications and 27 conference presentations, locally, nationally, and internationally. I am the president and founder of Natural Born Scientist and have mentored thousands of gifted children through the Super Saturday program over 28 years. Most of all, I'm a loving husband, a father of 6, and grandfather of 6. This presentation given as a Toastmaster is entitled The 8 Habits of Highly Effective People. I started to work for NIOSH in 1988, 32 years ago. 1 year later, Stephen Covey wrote the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that sold over 30 million copies in 40 different languages. In 1997, he formed the Franklin Covey Company and provided 7 Habits training. In 2014, Franklin Covey had a revenue of over $200 million. About this time, NIOSH provided Franklin Covey training for its employees. And I thought the government never provided training that didn't work, so I took it. As a scientist, I was hooked on the training because it was premised on principles. And my whole career as a scientist is based on scientific principles. After his death in 2012, his book remains a bestseller. And his son, Sean Covey, has come out recently with a 30-year edition with his personal comments. And he continues the Franklin Covey Company. Did you ever drive to work and not remember how you got there? How much of your day yesterday, for example, do you remember? These are examples of how unconscious habits affect our lives. Habits are Pavlovian conditioned responses to our environment, most of which are unconscious habits. We can find comfort in routine. However, the problem is that our life can become trapped in the Groundhog Days effect and just seem to meaninglessly repeat themselves. Wouldn't it be nice if you just unconsciously did what was meaning and effective all the time? Covey never claimed that these were his habits. And in fact, he disclaimed that they were his, and that he only gleaned them from the literature and articulated them from books. He claimed the habits were based on principles and are effective irrespective of the connection to his personality. So like Newtonian physics, we honor Newton for identifying and articulating the principles. In Covey's habits, we honor Covey for identifying them and articulating them. However, these habits are effective and existed before him and after him. The only way to prove these principles are indeed in fact effective is to use them and evaluate them, like developing good study habits. Habits are what you do unconsciously, every day without fail, without thinking. You can choose your unconscious habits. For example, if you decide to play the piano every day, then you become a pianist. Have you heard the expression that practice makes perfect? Well, no, it doesn't. It's perfect practice that makes perfect. Effective training leads to effective habits. Stephen Covey reviewed the success literature from over the past 150 years, searching for common traits in success people. Out of his research, he wrote the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Later, he wrote the 8th habit after studying Maslow's latest principles. This is Stephen Covey's a symbol for the 7 habits. The symbol has 3 habits in the bottom triangle of independence and 3 habits in the upper inverted triangles of interdependence. And one habit that circles all of them. Habit 1 is to be proactive. Habit 2 is to begin with the end in mind. Habit 3 is to put first things first. Habit 4 is to think win-win. Habit 5 is to seek to understand before being understood. Habit 6 is to synergize. And finally, habit 7 encircles all the other triangles and is to keep the saw sharp. The truth is that everyone is a diamond in the rough, and that with proper education and training can cut and polish your effective facets and make your value shine to the world. You can choose your habits. Habit 1. The most important habit of them all is to be proactive, because all the habits are developed out of this habit. Proactive was defined in 1946 by Viktor Frankl in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl said, between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and freedom. Being proactive is using our power to choose our response, our unique response to the stimulus of the world. There are many ways to find that space. Some people journal, some people meditate, some people pray, and some retreat into nature. Habit number 2, the second habit, begin with the end in mind, is the habit of proactively developing an end vision. Here, the person uses their proactive space to develop the skill to imagine and visualize the outcome they want from the start. Covey had a famous exercise of visualizing one's 80th birthday celebration, listing the people at that celebration and what they would like to have them say about them, and then writing that down. Finally, that vision is used to create a personal mission and vision statement. Then that personal and vision statement is deconstructed into yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily goals. 3, get into the habit of putting first things first, setting priorities, getting your ducks in a row. Life is a triage. We can't keep all our goals alive. You have to decide which ones are important. Covey surveyed people from all over the world and asked them the question, what is most important to you? Of these people, irrespective of their nationality, race, creed, education, said family. 95% of the responses said family was the most important. So for these people, the third habit would be to get in the habit of putting your family first. 4, this habit is above the independence line in the upper half of the triangle of interdependence. These are interpersonal skills. This is the habit, the first one is the habit of developing win-win relationships. relationships in which we can fulfill our vision while the other person fulfills theirs. No man is an island and needs relationships with other people. Get into the habit of negotiating for win-win or no deal. Get into the habit of making sure that you do what you want while the other person is getting what they want. Get into the habit of asking yourself, with them, what's in it for me? If there's no win for you, then it's no deal. Move on. Habit 5. Get into the habit of seeking to understand others and then to be understood. This is the habit of active listening, providing feedback, confirming that the person is being understood, and then asking the same from them. Here is the deal. I will spend my precious time with you until that you are understood. Then I need the same from you or it's no deal. Get into the habit of communicating in such a way that others can hear you. For example, like an astute psychotherapist, get into the habit of actively listening and understanding the other person. And like a wise public speaker, elegantly explaining your thoughts and feelings in order to be understood. Habit 6, the habit of synergizing. Synergy is defined as where 1 plus 1 is equal to 3. Get into the habit of not only seeking win-win relations, but moreover, emphasizing relationships that are synergistic better than either one alone. Habit 6 is also known as the third way. The third way of doing something is better than either my way or your way. Finding a way that is not my way or your way, but finding a way that is our way, a common vision. 7. Finally, get into the habit of sharpening your saw. This is based on the whole person paradigm that says that we are body, heart, mind, and soul, measured by our physical quotient, PQ, emotional quotient, EQ, intellectual quotient, IQ, and spiritual quotient, S0. Physical quotient measures our athletics abilities. EQ measures our self-awareness, self-control, and interpersonal skills, empathy, the ability to empathize. IQ, of course, is the measurement of our cognitive skills. This is the only one that the APA, the American Psychological Association, calls a legitimate measure of intellect. These others are fad, but they're very, very popular and they're being explored. Covey used the parable of the goose that lays the golden egg for this 7th habit. For many people, when they discover their voice and start producing golden eggs, they end up killing the goose that lays the golden eggs by letting these 4 aspects atrophy, burning, professional burnout. So, exercise those 4 aspects daily. 8th habit. Covey's 8th habit is to find your voice and to help others find theirs. Your voice is a Venn diagram overlap of your PQ, EQ, IQ, and SQ. Our voice is what we're, 1, naturally good at, 2, what we love doing, 3, what we believe in doing, and 4, what others value. Our voice is defined as the unique personal significance in the world. Finding our voice is analogous to Maslow's self-actualization. Now, who wouldn't want to fulfill their heart's desires in life? being all you can be. Finding your voice is that sweet spot between what you're really good at doing, what you know the most about, what you love doing, and you get paid for it. It's valued. According to Covey, Maslow, the famous Maslow, revised his own hierarchy of needs before his death and claimed that the highest human need was transcending oneself or living beyond themselves for a greater purpose than oneself. This is included in his final book, The Eighth Habit of Practicing Your Voice, but moreover, inspiring and helping others find theirs. The eighth habit is achieved when your voice is to routinely help others find their voice that fills the highest human need. So, that is my story of Covey's 8 habits of highly effective people in 15 minutes. If you ever get a chance to take this training, I think you'll find it's something in it for you that will enhance your life. Franklin Covey Company provides 2-day courses for $2,300. NIOSH provided this training from time to time. One must master a habit at a time. Psychologist Filippi Lelli says it takes an average of 66 days to develop a permanent habit. However, that can vary from person to person, vary from 18 to 254 days. Covey used the principle of the law of the harvest in developing habits. The law of the harvest is you reap what you sow. Changing habits requires a lot of work. Also, be careful. Since Covey's death, the trademark has been stolen, like linens taken from a dead corpse. There are many coaches and mentors out there that have their own brand of 7 habits and call it the 7 habits. I've seen this trademark theft right here in the government. Make sure that when you do this training, that it is Covey's 7 habits for this habit. So, best wishes and good luck in your career.